Support WrestleTalk!
Donate on Patreon.
Hello and welcome to WrestleRamble, the worst of 2017. I am Ollie Davis, this is Luke Owen, and it's Christmas week, everybody.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
Yeah,
Christmas was a
woo!
couple of days ago.
Or happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Happy Winterval.
Mm-hmm.
Happy...
All of them.
Yeah,
all of them.
all of whatever you celebrate.
Happy all of them. And
Yes.
if that doesn't please you, then happy shut the F up.
Yeah, maybe you don't celebrate anything.
Yeah.
Maybe my friend's a Jehovah's Witness. He's just gone to Cyprus. He's just not doing anything. He's got away from it all.
Yeah.
So have a happy holiday,
Happy
Mario.
holiday. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name.
We
Used to be a Jehovah's Witness.
We love every single one of the SWAF Nation, and every single one of you is celebrating in your own unique ways, including like Ollie Davis here, who's just still choking.
I celebrate by coughing now. I don't chant at wrestling shows. I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
Oh dear me.
It's okay. We're going to fight
We're going
through.
to fight through it. Just
So
power through.
we are not here in the studio.
No.
Well, we are, but not like right now when you're watching this. So we don't know what happened on Raw and SmackDown this week. This is a pre-recorded episode where we are... We're going to sort of go through the worst of 2017. We're going to call it the Swafties. The best, which will go on Friday, is called the Swafties.
God, are you alright?
It's just a little tiny cough.
Just a little tickle, mate.
It's just a tiny cough. That's all it is. I think I'm fine now.
Okay.
So we're going to go. You've all been in touch. How did people get in touch?
Via Twitter and Facebook, we put up a post that asked you to tell us what your worst moment of 2017 was in the wrestling world, and you replied in your masses.
Hundreds,
a much larger reply percentage than we did for when we asked people to their favourite moments of the year. People do like to talk about when things are pants, and here we are. You've replied. Here are the Softies, which are
the Softies. Yeah, sorry,
yes.
I messed it up.
Yeah, and so you've replied via Twitter and Facebook. Should we have a look at what we've got?
Let's go for it. So first up from Kevin Allen, he says, I want to say Sister Abigail, but does that count since we never really saw the payoff? If it doesn't, I'll go with Jinder Mahal's title reign as WWE Champion. Close second after getting assaulted by Ty Dillinger and AJ on SmackDown one night, Baron Corbin screaming, I feel violated.
Yeah, so, I mean, should we talk about... we'll definitely talk about Jinder because that's going to come up again. Actually, I suppose Sister Abigail will as well, but what are your memories of Sister Abigail for 2017?
How into it I was for that 1 week, where I was like, and everyone was. We're all like, oh, that was really interesting, the way they changed it. Are they going to debut an actual Sister Abigail character? Paige might come in, someone's teasing it from NXT.
Wasn't it Sarah Logan?
No, I thought that. No, it wasn't. It was somebody else. Yeah, I remember looking at that up at the time. There was someone from TNA. I think it wasn't Rose. Maybe it was Rosemary. She sort of made a cryptic tweet hinting it could be her. Everyone was very excited, and we kind of joked, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, but they might just do a Norman Bates and have Bray Wyatt dress up as Sister Abigail. Ha ha ha! They'd never do that.
And
But
lo
that
and behold,
was
that's
the
what we
plan.
got. I never thought I would be sitting here in a studio talking about wrestling on a video show and would /podcast and say the words, God bless that viral meningitis. Because that really did save us from possibly an absolute train wreck of a pay-per-view match.
And just, yeah, like, it made a lot of the pay-per-view much better.
Indeed, yeah, because we've got AJ versus Finn.
AJ versus Finn. No Pumpkin King Finn.
No.
Sister Abigail Bray Wyatt. Kurt Angle's return. They in my opinion, they over-delivered. Didn't think they needed to do all of that. I would have held off on, on Kurt Angle. But yes, Sister Abigail.
Sister Abigail, no good.
I mean, Bray Wyatt comes up a lot in this.
Yeah.
There's Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, and yeah, I'd say that those are they're the two biggies.
And Jinder.
And Jinder, of course. Now, I forgot about this one from Dave D. Tugboat. Anything involving the shark cage.
Except War Games, which I don't really think is a shark cage.
Yeah, because I guess they were on the floor when they were
I
about
suppose,
to be
yeah.
released.
I forgot about that bit, yeah.
So this is mainly the SummerSlam match between Enzo and
Big Show
and
Big Cat. I genuinely forgot about that match because I was literally just about to say, I think there's only been one, and that was at the Royal Rumble.
With
when
Jericho, yeah.
I forgot about the one at SummerSlam when Enzo was in there, and he greased himself up.
It was awful.
Oh, God, I've forgotten all about that. We watched that live.
And it was like, Enzo, didn't he get out? And he finally got out, and everyone's like, oh, okay, he got out. That kind of makes that a bit pointless then. And then Cass just destroyed him anyway.
Booted him right in the face.
So nobody got over. No. Cass got injured afterwards. But then Enzo got a little bit of a run.
He certainly did. What's going to happen when Cass comes back now? He's going to be like, oh, my little buddy's a heel now.
Maybe they'll... Because heels like heels.
The heels do like heels.
Maybe they'll just combine. I can't see Big Cass coming back to a surprise huge pop.
Yeah.
I've kind of forgotten what his entrance music is.
I think it changed week to week.
Yeah. Because it was originally Enzo's entrance music. Yeah, so great. Tom, I also forgot this happened. The Great Khali's return.
Return in cameo, yeah, at the end of the Punjabi prison match. I popped for it. I liked it.
I quite liked it too, but it was ridiculous. It didn't really lead to anything. And Jinder Khali tried to make himself look like the bigger deal by holding up the championship.
That was my favourite bit of it. And then Jinder essentially snatched it back off him. I was kind of excited that it was going to lead to like this like
a little faction,
little quartet group, but unfortunately it didn't come to pass.
No.
I was actually watching Elimination Chamber 2010 the other day.
Right.
Just kind of scrolling.
As you do.
As you just kind of scrolling through the network. I think something brought up in the conversation. I thought about the Daniel Bryan Santino Elimination Chamber little like back and forth they had. And I forgot that Khali was in the Elimination Chamber match, not in the SmackDown one. Or was he in Yeah, I think he was in the SmackDown one.
No, how does he fit in there?
Yeah, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
I think he was in that one, or he was in one of the. He was in the other one. Either way, he was in the Elimination Chamber, and I forgot Khali.
Harold Harris, rather meanly and unfairly, says, whenever Kurt Hawkins is in the ring, 3 rolling with laughter crying emojis.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah, I think Kurt Hawkins has got a job. His job is to lose a lot.
He's a jobber.
Yeah, and he's made he's carved a role out for himself.
Yeah.
I think that's good. GoBotch writes, Jinder. Anything Jinder.
Poor old Jinder.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in agreement here, though. Even WWE, the Jinder Mahal experiment was badly judged.
Yeah, although if you actually read the interview with him in the WrestleTalk WrestleTalk magazine issue 2, there's a really interesting piece in there where he's talking about how a lot of skeptics said like you only got the push because of the India expansion. He kind of tries to say that it wasn't because of that, and it wasn't an experiment. But let's be honest, it wasn't. It
was, yeah. I mean, it's going to come up a lot more. I'm sure we can go into it more. Like right here, it's in this one again. But the first call for This Is Your Life from Anime Gamer 750. This Is Your Life segment. House of Horrors. Jinder title reign. This Is Your Life segment. Burial of NXT call-ups. So a lot there.
Yeah.
More specific because we talked about Sister Abigail, but that isn't the only thing Bray Wyatt's done that's been terrible this year. He also had the House of Horrors match.
But that's only if you seem to think that the House of Horrors match was terrible, which, let's be honest, it wasn't. It was glorious.
I think it's widely criticised as being bad. You can say it was good, but your qualifying thing would be it was good in a bad way.
Oh, it was awful, but it was brilliant. I would never list it as one of the worst things. For me, like a worst thing of the year has got to be something that I was like, this is just dreadfully bad. Whereas the House of Horrors, I was like, this is bad, but I'm quite entertained by how bad this is.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. The lawnmower just going across by itself.
Awesome. They both arrived in taxis.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
But the second half was really bad in the arena.
Yeah.
And so would you have the floor projections, the canvas projections?
Yeah, the canvas projections, so much worse.
Yeah, WrestleMania.
Absolutely. Their WrestleMania match was so much worse.
And Burial of NXT call-ups really has not been a good year for them.
Strong use of the word burial, but it's not been a good year for NXT call-ups.
Chipping away over time.
Yeah.
Drowned.
I mean, what has Bobby Roode accomplished? What has Ty Dillinger accomplished? What has Nakamura accomplished?
Fought for the title several times.
And lost.
Yeah. He was on both men were on Team SmackDown at Survivor Series.
They were.
And lost. Drowned Daily writes, Booker T laughing, Neville vanishing, and Sasha not retaining. So I forgot about Sasha Banks and that sort of record she has of progressively shorter title reigns.
4-time champ, never defended her title successfully.
Yeah.
That is a very bad statistic to have on one sleeve.
Yeah, so agree with you there. Chelma Alonso says that moment when Jinder Mahal won the six-pack challenge to become the #1 contender for the world title by pinning Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
I forgot it was Sami Zayn.
It was Sami.
He was the man to get pinned. But that was the moment on SmackDown that started all of this.
I mean, I just started working here, and we were reviewing that episode of SmackDown, and we're like, well, I mean, it's a bold choice to go with Jinder. I mean, he's now the #1 contender.
Let's see where it goes.
Let's see where this goes. It'll just be a 1-month thing. Let's see what happens. Little did we know.
Right, I like how we're always quite optimistic, despite the overwhelming evidence against things turning out okay.
You know, not to reveal our ages, I am in my early 30s. You're not far behind. You'd think with all of our years of experience in watching this product, we'd be much more cynical about this than we are.
We're eternal optimists at heart. Robbie Shaw just writes, the writing. And then he has a hashtag that I hate. Sorry, not sorry.
I love how much you don't like it.
They don't like that. Kelsey Dean Buck says, there's a few. Ellsworth winning the first women's Money in the Bank match. Even WWE knows they screwed up, hence the repeat match. Roman Reigns entering at number 30 in the Royal Rumble, Men's Survivor Series match, Mahal's racially charged promo against Nakamura, and the burial of Becky Lynch.
Again, strong use of the word burial there, but like, ooh, she's not had a great year as old Becky.
No, she's been really background player, which is a shame.
Such a shame.
She's like one of the best.
Yeah,
she's neck and neck with Charlotte for me, because she's so good at promos and just getting herself over, and the crowd really like her.
The problem with Becky, or the problem for Becky, is that when she was on SmackDown on her own, away from the other 4 horsewomen, she was there. She was able to shine, but she was struggling against the ascension of Alexa Bliss, who was really getting over and really coming into her own character, and so they were like, let's strap a rocket to her. So Becky then became a secondary player to that. And then when Alexa Bliss moved over, Charlotte came over from Raw and took the #1 babyface position. So Becky had to take #2 again, and you know,
but behind Naomi, so behind like number 3.
Yeah, so she's not had a great year, poor old Becky, which is a real shame.
And of course, Ellsworth winning the first ever women's Money in the Bank match.
What a bad decision that was. I'd kind of forgotten that as well. What a terrible decision that was. Who thought that was a good idea?
It's like, it's not just a bad idea. It's quite a publicly bad idea.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to tell this story for your press, I guess, for PR throughout 2017. This is the year of women. Divas are no longer divas. They're female, like women competitors. You've got the Mae Young Classic tournament. Everything's going well. First ever Money in the Bank tournament match for women, and it's won by James Ellsworth.
It would be like if James Ellsworth won the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match. Just entered himself into there, no pun intended, and won.
Excuse me. So it's kind of, I can see, like, on paper, I'd be like, oh, I guess you're just trying to get mega heat on the heel, but don't do that on the first one.
All it needed was Ellsworth helping her up the ladder to take it down, rather than taking it down for her and dropping it into her hands. Because also, like, that, as a rule, just doesn't make any sense.
Sticking with the women's division, this is one of my favourite moments of 2017, so I'm sad it's appeared on the worst. Kelsey Dean Buck writes...
Same person, saying.
Oh, it's the same person. That time Tamina forgot how to talk and just repeated what Charlotte said.
So funny.
Awkward.
So funny. And Charlotte was like, if you keep talking, I'm going to make you look like Ellsworth. Then Tamina goes like, well, if you keep on talking, I'm going to make you look like Ellsworth.
No, but you put inflection in there. That's the problem. It's not like, I'm going to make you look like Ellsworth. I'm just going to... Yeah, because Samoa Joe does that sometimes. Like, he'll say the same thing back, but a lot more threatening. Tamina just went, I'm going to... Yeah, just repeated it flatly.
So
funny.
funny.
I loved it. Not enough people talk about that moment.
No, everyone just talks about Shane McMahon forgetting his lines, which he does a lot.
Adam Dodd says Pumpkin Demon King Finn. God, that's hard to say. Yeah, we just missed out on that.
Just missed out.
Although we did see him on Raw do that awful in-camera trick.
Feud. As a whole, that feud, man. What a disaster.
Really bad.
All over the show.
Sticking with that, Nick Militia writes everything Bray Wyatt, WrestleMania match, House of Horrors, Sister Abigail, pointless feuds, etc. At least Jinder had 1 or 2 good parts of an awful title run.
Yeah, he's got a point. It's an excellent point. And as I said, like, I would put his WrestleMania matches probably his worst moment of the year. Oh, would I? Because Sister Abigail was bad. But that WrestleMania match was dumbfoundingly stupid.
So, at least Bray is having a kind of good close to 2017 with the Woke and Matt Hardy.
He's going
feud.
on 205 Live.
Hey, it's going to be great. And I think a lot of people forget how over the Viper in the Family storyline was at the start of this year. Because the whole Royal Rumble story was based around that. Then, like, Wyatt's win at Elimination Chamber was good. That was still this year. Yeah. It doesn't feel like that.
It's February.
And then it was the build to WrestleMania that really, that month of March, that sort of started to chip away at him. But he had 2 good months. And then, no good months for a while. Your fat uncle, that's his name, writes, Jinder being champion. I wanted to give it a chance, but it was god-awful. Said enough on this. Drowned Daily again says the outcome of the first ever women's ladder match.
The ladder match.
And, forgot this one, the Rusev and John Cena flag match
John
from Battleground.
Cena's big return. I can't believe you remembered the pay-per-view. I wouldn't have been able to tell you that. Oh, yeah, because they've all got flags, haven't they, in the promos? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I forgot that flag match.
Yeah, and it was a long match as well.
So long.
But it was, I mean, at least it stuck to the gimmick. It didn't, like, ignore the gimmick of the stipulation. But yeah, that was a slog. They didn't do anything for Rusev, because that was Rusev's big return as well.
That's right, yeah, because he was like, I'm not going to come onto SmackDown until I get to face Randy Orton for the WWE Championship, a storyline that was never picked up again. And then he was just like, now I'm feuding with John Cena, I guess. And just losing all the time. He had a fairly bad year, did old Ruru.
But he's closing it strong with Rusev Day. Yeah, because he was... I read that Ryan Ward was super, super behind Rusev, and he wanted Rusev to... That's why they were running those promos. Rusev was going to win the Money in the Bank match. He was going to win the title this year. It was all going to happen for him. But then Vince was like, now we're going with Jinder. And Rusev, everything was dropped.
Man.
Even though they started... And you can see because they started to build it on screen.
Yeah.
He was feuding with Shane. He was having those little promo bits. I Am Arenas says, it isn't a moment, but I think every impromptu match at every pay-per-view of 2017 is terrible.
I don't get this one.
So this is where it's not an announced match, but someone's in the ring for a pay-per-view and says, no, I want to face something, and then they come out and have a match.
Can you give me an example from this year?
Did Jason Jordan and Elias... They started off with the gigs and then throwing vegetables, and that turned into a match.
Did it really lead to a match?
Pretty sure.
I thought it led to something on Raw.
But like stuff like, I don't know, Kurt Hawkins might be cutting a promo on a pay-per-view.
I don't remember it. I just don't remember this being on any pay-per-views this year.
It's probably because you just forget it.
Maybe.
It does happen. It does happen a fair bit. I'm with you, I Am Arenas. I Am Chris Imms writes... Reigns at 30 in the Royal Rumble. I'm a fan of Reigns, but I was just really annoyed / disappointed because there were so many other wrestlers that could have come out. Just bad timing. I wasn't a huge fan of Orton winning either.
Yeah, I was watching this with a buddy of mine, and we were there. We had our bets for who was going to be the number 30 because all night long we were like, Samoa Joe's debuting. Samoa Joe is debuting tonight, and I was like, oh my god, Joe's going to be the number 30 spot, or it's going to be this big return, it's going to be this big debut. And as soon as Roman's music hit, we just sort of looked at each other with a look that essentially,
yeah,
like utterly dumbfounded that was the decision they went with. Like. They did it on purpose. They did it to troll us all, like because they knew it would get like a massive heat reaction, and man alive, what so bad.
Yeah,
especially because he'd wrestled earlier in the night, like, and everyone they made the point.
Like, a good match against Kevin Owens.
A very good match against Kevin Owens because Roman Reigns is a very good wrestler. But like everyone was like, well, why didn't AJ get a spot in the Rumble then? If Roman got one because he lost, why didn't AJ get one? Kayfabe-wise, it didn't work, but I wasn't a fan of Orton winning either. So many reasons to dislike this. A lot of people rate the actual Royal Rumble match from this year. I haven't gone back to watch it. Maybe it is, but it is so
like discoloured for me by Reigns' number 30. I hate that match. I hate it. It was like the perfect time to debut Joe, and he debuted. Was it the night after?
Next night, yeah.
Yeah. So like, why not do it then?
Yeah.
But the wrong Samoan called Joe. Now we have Sakib Avid Basic. Yeah, Avid Basic. Roman entering at Royal Rumble number 30. Easy. I think it's got to be up there for me. Fight Gamer Ross, or Fight Game Ross, says Roman Reigns beating The Undertaker. First time we've had this.
Yeah, at WrestleMania. It was just a boring main event, really. I thought this year's WrestleMania was really boring.
It was just too long.
Outside of the Goldberg and Lesnar match, I just thought the show was really...
Hardy's return.
And the Hardys' return.
Cena proposal.
You loved that more than most people.
It was a bit of a...
Yeah.
It
was a nice moment, but the match wasn't good. Like, there was a nothing match, but it was designed to be a nothing match because the angle afterwards was the bigger moment. But, like, that's what I mean. Like, what was the big takeaways? A return, a proposal, and one match that went 5 minutes. It was a 4-hour show. Like,
Shane and AJ.
Yeah, it was a good opener, but it wasn't like wasn't Mania brilliant this year because of Shane and AJ?
I think everyone was like, they managed to do a half-decent match.
Yeah.
Rather than, what a romp that was. It could have been a great 3-4 hour show, but it wasn't. It was a 6-7 hour show. Hey, Hanson Jason Lee writes, Shane McMahon opening SmackDown every bloody week. I'm with you.
With you on that one.
It's copy and paste template stuff. Same on Raw. With Kurt Angle opening Raw most weeks with an in-ring promo. Very lazy. WWE Orlando writes, the feud of Bliss and Bayley, the whole thing, awful kendo stick on a pole match, that really was bad.
Yep.
And the This Is Your Life segment really hurt Bayley.
Forgot about the kendo stick on a pole match.
Yeah, because that's what it was building to.
Yeah.
Yeah, really bad. Danny Boy says, This Is Your Life, of course, another one. That's definitely up there as the most mentioned one. Nakamura's main roster run so far. Rude debuting as a face. That's a very good point.
Very good one.
Should have been a heel, really. Sister Abigail. The Revival's bad luck.
Yep.
Not really anyone's fault, but yeah, they could have been. This was their big main roster debut year, and both of them have been injured at different points.
So sad.
So they've been out for the majority of the year, although they should be returning soon. The Survivor Series teams and Luke getting the WrestleTalk gig.
It's our first dig!
Hey! He wrote LOL next to it.
Yeah, but he sends me trolling stuff all the time on Twitter.
I don't think he means it.
I think he does.
So some Japanese characters that I can't read to you because they're the wrong language. Theatre says, that Survivor Series ending.
Well, I mean, which Survivor Series endings do you mean? Do you mean the one that actually happened, or the one they're telling you now, which is that Kevin and Sami cost Team SmackDown the match? Like, literally, the opening package for Clash of Champions shows the match, shows Sami and Kevin interfering, and then Triple H winning. And it's like, Sami and Kevin just cost SmackDown the match.
Yeah.
Ignores the fact that Shane ran them off. Ignores the fact that Triple H turned on Raw, and then went back to Raw. And it was all builds actually around Triple H and Strowman.
Yeah, he beat both men. He beat both sides.
Yeah.
Triple H won everything.
He won the whole thing.
I never really thought about that. Surely they're building to Braun Triple H off the back of that.
I think they are. I think they're going to do that at Mania.
At Mania, really. But then you've also got the Shane McMahon, Kurt Angle tension, the big money match from a short-term buy rate perspective. Surely is Kurt versus Triple H.
Yeah.
Which is also a part of that trifecta.
I suppose, yeah, but maybe you could do that at the Rumble.
Yeah, I can't see that happening. That's very soon. Triple H won't come back until after football season's over as well. Maybe that is by the Royal Rumble.
No, he might do it at, it'll be the 25th anniversary show. DX have got to come out to do their usual thing.
Good point.
When Michael Cole reminds us that they're the architect of the Attitude Era.
John Backer writes, Triple H winning Survivor Series. Yep. The Black Conrad writes, Corbin winning the US title.
Which he's just lost.
I'm not as down on that.
I wasn't as down on it.
Yeah, I think that's Baron's level.
And it got AJ out of that scene so he could go and become WWE Champion.
And that was a great match.
Yeah.
AJ Ty Baron, Hell in a Cell maybe. I thought it was a corker. Yeah. Absolute corker. Tom just writes Sexy Star. Now, this is probably the most legitimate, one of the most legitimate ones in the whole list, because whereas everything is just like bad booking or this was a stupid gimmick, Sexy Star reportedly intentionally tried to hurt another female wrestler in the ring while having a wrestling match with her.
Yeah.
So bad.
It was not cool. And then she blamed it on Rosemary. Said it was her fault.
Blamed it on everyone else.
Blamed it on everyone else but herself.
So LL Cool Tom writes, Shane McMahon being the last team member of SmackDown at Survivor Series.
I think he was the first.
But he was...
Oh, right, I see what they're saying.
He was the last
I think
surviving member.
like the last person to be added to the team.
Of course he was the first.
Oh,
yeah, to announce himself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Everyone else has to qualify, but I'm Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
I'm in there automatically.
And
here's my mate John and
yeah.
Randy.
LJ. Randy qualified.
Yes.
He beat Sammy.
LJ writes, WWE using the Men in Black neutralizer to make us forget about Nia Jax turning on Alexa Bliss.
Your girl Nia.
You got there. This was really bad storytelling because, that was a big angle. It was a main event of Raw after SummerSlam. Nia Jax, electric chair dropping Alexa.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God.
Finally.
Okay, we're pulling the trigger. Cool. This is what they've been teasing for months and months and months. 2 weeks later,
Best friends.
absolutely fine. And it's never touched on again. Like, how insulting as a viewer. If someone did that on a Walking Dead or a Breaking Bad or any show that WWE claims to want to be like, that they would never have such contempt for their audience that way.
Absolutely not.
Awful stuff.
Also, it's the Men in Black neuralizer.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Neutralizer is
Cesaro's finisher. I watched Men in Black 3 was on telly again recently.
Oh, was it? It's a good film, that.
What a movie.
Great film.
Really underrated. Go and watch it. Raider Max House Stark writes, and that's a combination of Game of Thrones references and something else, I think. Jason Jordan crying to Angle before Survivor Series. He single-handedly made a push to bring back the Divas title. I disagree.
I completely disagree.
I think Jason Jordan's character's work has been amazing.
Also, crying is not a female trait.
The mayor of Painesville, Daniel Scheitz, Dan writes, Roman Reigns retiring for Undertaker. Yep. And Alicia Fox pinning Sasha at ringside were pretty bad moments.
That's not the worst, though, but it was funny. And
Well,
it's force of habit. Like, it is. I'm guessing as a wrestler, you just sort of go into...
Why doesn't anyone else do it?
Because they're better than Alicia Fox. I mean,
Well, that's the point. She's not a good wrestler.
I know, but she's been doing this for like 15 odd years, and she made a very it's not so much. It's not as bad as when Cameron tried to pin someone lying on their front on Raw on live TV.
But their shoulders are down.
At least
on the front.
At least this was on the kickoff.
But what a Northern Light suplex. Eating all the world's rights, probably James Ellsworth winning the first ever Women's Money in the Bank match. That moment was so legitimately devastating, Carmella's fantastic promo after the second match wasn't enough to make up for it. I just want to say, what a promo that was for Carmella. Do you remember that? Yeah, I mean, that should probably be saved for the best. Santa Hat Garbage says... Jim Johnston getting fired because we have to listen to songs that forever loop now, made by CFO money.
I think we discussed this on a previous WrestleRamble. I 100% disagree with that statement. I think CFO money create very good music, actually.
But Jim Johnston getting fired without...
very bad.
Without much... or just let go. You know, I think his contract wasn't renewed. I mean, the guy has been such a huge part of creating wrestlers by writing music for them. He should be in the Hall of Fame. It should be announced on Raw. It should be a big deal. But he's not really treated as someone who's important now.
Because the wrestler is the star, not the music.
The Doug says, sexy star shooting on people. Jinder going from jobber to world champion. WWE hitting the Bullet Club with a cease and desist over Too Sweet. That's... That we haven't brought that one up so far.
No. What do you make of the cease and desist movement?
Well, it was very petty on WWE's part. They've created larger stars out of the Bullet Club in the process, but it did cost a man his job.
Yeah, that's the worst thing of it, is that poor old Jimmy Jacobs now has to work for TNA. And yeah, it was a really, really petty move on the part of WWE. But you're right, it just made the Bullet Club into much bigger stars. Like, the Bullet Club were reported on by news outlets that wouldn't usually talk about Bullet Club stuff because of this letter. So, I mean, it was a really backfiring moment.
It was WWE. That and the Raw invasion. It was a good combination. Robert Penny goes all the way back to WrestleMania. Mojo Rawley winning the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
With a bit of the Gronk.
I can't remember who I wanted to win. I think I thought Braun was going to win it because Braun was wasted in the Battle Royal.
Braun and Big Show had a showdown and then they were both chucked out.
Is that what happened? I was trying to I couldn't even remember what happened to him. But Mojo's friends with the Gronk, so he had to win.
Braun Snowman.
Excellent.
Writes 90% of all NXT call-ups. Who's the 10%?
Yeah, which 10% have done well?
I guess Sammy's done well in recent weeks.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like NXT call-ups from this year. So who have you had?
Well, the Revival could have done.
Yeah.
But
injuries.
Injuries.
Who was after WrestleMania? The Revival. Nakamura, Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode was after SummerSlam.
Yeah. Okay, so Nakamura for SmackDown.
All memorable.
Yeah, I can't remember the other big ones.
I was thinking who returned this year because I was doing an intro to another video and I thought, obviously Hardy Boys, big one. Paige came back from injury. Who else returned? Kurt Angle to the ring. Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin. James just writes, the last 4 months of SmackDown.
They were bad, although the build to the Survivor Series was quite good.
Prince of Shadows says Survivor Series main event, the almost Sister Abigail match, Bayley's This Is Your Life segment and Kendo Stick on a Pole match, the House of Horrors match, and the one we haven't had so far, Goldberg winning the belt from Kevin Owens.
Strong disagree.
Well, he had to win, but it was the fact that Kevin Owens never got a rematch when that's such a big thing.
Neither did Finn.
Yeah, well, no one's had a rematch, I don't think.
No, because Goldberg didn't have one either.
But it's just, it's annoying that WWE used that for everything else, but it's not consistent.
No.
So I can see that. And it did, as much as I think the belt being on Goldberg was the right move from a business standpoint, it was a bit rubbish the way they went around it. It didn't help Owens. Owens didn't come off bigger. And at the end of the day, do you want to make Goldberg big for a one-day pay buy rate? Or do you want to build a new star to carry the company in Kevin Owens?
Well, it's WWE, so they want to build up for the one buy rate. But, the booking of Owens as Universal Champion was predominantly bad across the board, really. So, I was actually just glad to see the belt off of him because it was getting to a point where I was like, you being champion is more damaging to you than you not being champion. So, Goldberg taking the belt off him was probably for the best.
Slay Kia says the House of Horrors match. So much potential that went to waste. You disagree. Dan says Jason Jordan being named as Kurt's illegitimate son.
What a storyline.
How was this not sooner?
What a storyline. We were waiting all these weeks of build about what it could be. You and I even did a fancy booking warfare scenario around it. Turns out, and do you know what's so funny about this? There were all of these rumours, there were all of these reports about what it was, and I saw the Jason Jordan being named as Kurt's illegitimate son as a comment on a wrestling forum. I was saying, I think I might have read somewhere that this is one of the options. And I hadn't even considered that as an option. I read it and I was like, oh, I'll remember that.
As a joke.
As a joke. And then I happened to mention it in the studio of have you heard apparently what it could be? It's this. That's obviously not what it is because that's one of the things that's definitely not being reported. Then lo and bloody behold, it's only Jason Jordan is Kurt Angle's legitimate child.
It reminds me of, there was an ex-WWE writer who kind of broke the John Cena versus Miz feud, the intergender tag match feud, WrestleMania. And this was back, early January when we all thought it was going to be Cena versus Taker. And the guy said, you would not believe what they've actually got planned.
That's right, he did, yeah.
You would not, it's so stupid. No, it can't be that stupid. And then he said, it's an intergender tag match with The Miz and Maurice. I was like, no, it isn't. And then 2 days later, everyone was reporting it. I was like, oh my God, it's gone from this stupid idea, this joke, to something they're actually going to do. And it felt like, there was so many interesting avenues you could take it because it didn't have to be a son. It could have been anything. It was just a scandal. That's all we knew. And they shoehorned themselves into something that doesn't just damage Kurt and make him look bad. It's going to hang around Jason Jordan like a stink for the rest of his career.
2018 has to see Jordan drop the gimmick.
Yeah, and turn heel, reveal he wasn't... Although I don't even know if that's the answer.
I think it's the answer.
Sherry Joshi, I definitely pronounced that wrong, I'm sorry, says AJ Styles and Kevin Owens botched ending at, I believe it was Battleground.
Yeah, where AJ lost the belt when he wasn't meant to.
Yeah, so...
Bad summer for those two.
Yeah, that was a bad feud, disappointing matches. Yeah, but they're both stronger now. I'd be interested to see Kevin Owens going for the title against AJ.
Yeah.
See if they could have a better run of it this time round.
Well, yeah, but Shane would have to be involved. Special guest referee.
Special guest referee, yeah. Ronald Cook writes, I only saw one mention of this, but Goldberg beating Kevin Owens. Ruined Kevin Owens. Honestly, I could deal with all the other crap, but all the Goldberg stuff ruined Raw in general, and now we never see the champion but a few times a year. And the fact that Roman is still Vince's guy.
I actually like that we only see the champion a few times a year.
Yeah, I think it's good too, but it does hurt a 3-hour weekly show. I think there's probably a better middle ground, and it's not there at the moment. Bacon number 11. What happened to the others? Writes, watching WWE shows and seeing more Bullet Club shirts than WWE shirts in the audience. The unfair treatment of Roman Reigns by the fans. The breakup of DIY. The marks complaining about everything. Mostly fans have made this year suck.
There's some irony in complaining about a few things and then saying the marks complaining ruins everything. Actually, I think it's a good thing seeing a lot of Bullet Club shows. Bullet Club t-shirts at shows. It shows that indie wrestling is on the rise. It's on the ascension and more people are watching it. That's a good thing. The unfair treatment by Roman Reigns is a pretty lousy one. I think it's just, I'm kind of sick of people saying like he's not a good wrestler because he only does 5 moves, as if it's all about moves. The breakup of DIY, it's heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. One of my favourite moments of the year, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but it's gone on to tell a fantastic story. Johnny Gargano is excellent character work on NXT with the t-shirt stuff and being reminded of that breakup. It's just a shame that Ciampa got injured.
Yeah, but it could lead to something even better.
Yeah. About the fans complaining about stuff, I'm of the opinion that WWE are ultimately to blame because they've created a situation where you automatically dislike Roman Reigns when you see him. I still get it. Like, if I hear his music, Pavlovian response, I just go, oh God, it's Roman Reigns. Even though like I enjoy watching him wrestle, and when he's got the right promo, I enjoy his presence in the ring. But yeah, it's WWE conditioning people through bad booking, and he was terribly booked for quite a few years. TEOL writes, TNA Wrestling, Anthem Impact Wrestling, Global Force Wrestling, Anthem Impact Wrestling, Global Wrestling Network, Anthem Impact Wrestling. 4 name changes in a year has to be the worst thing in non-WWE due to confusion. Ahoy!
Poor old year for TNA. I mean, it's been a string of bad years. Yeah. But you kind of like, I was about to say, maybe 2018 will pick up, but I feel like I've been saying that now for the last, since 2010. Oh, maybe next year will be the one where they finally work it out. And funny enough, I was talking about this with my wife about one of the Apprentice contestants, where they started their business in 2009, and it's now 2017. And they're like, we're just getting started, and I'm like, well, you've been in business for 8 years, and you haven't got a website that works. Like that's day one. That's just like day one-ish. You sort that out. And TNA Wrestling are always kind of like, oh, next year we can pick it up. We're finding our feet. It's like, you started in 2002. You've been around longer. Like there've been more episodes of Impact than there were Nitro, and that was many, many years ago. They passed that, and yet they still putting on this. Like, we're the small train that can.
Yeah,
and I think they can't.
Yeah, it's that they just continually put their faith in the wrong people. It seems the Jeff Jarrett stuff over the summer, and then having to let him go was really embarrassing.
Bringing in Bruce Pritchard because he's got a popular podcast. And then Bruce never mentioning that TNA on said podcast, which I think is what they wanted. Yeah, just about another bad year for TNA. Last year was worse. In the grand scheme of progression, last year was worse. I mean, you could say that, but more people watched the show.
Broken Hardys, though. Yeah, you're right. I mean, business-wise, it was worse, with them nearly going out of business like 3-4 times. Day of the show, last-minute injections of cash, reportedly. The Drive to 500 writes, Oli not being the best man.
You should have been there sooner.
for Luke's wedding. Don't blame time, man. Nicholas Quinonans writes, Apollo Crews booking. I was impressed by him as I never watched NXT, but he's with Titus, which is fun and all, but that's underusing him. Oh, and that one promo with Bliss and Bayley's friends.
Great way to describe that segment. Poor old Apollo Crews.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of forget about, I take him for granted, but he is really good.
Yeah.
He's just got a stupid grin all the time. He just needs to sort that out.
Yeah. Maybe just turn him heel. It's always the answer.
Get rid of the cruiserweight weight limit. I'm convinced he doesn't weigh 205 pounds anyway because he's really short. And just, put him in an exciting, high-flying division.
Why wasn't he a tag team with Tozawa as Titus Worldwide?
Yeah. Craig Forster says AJ winning the WWE Championship. What?
I'm pretty sure that's a trolling
This
comment.
is the worst. The wrong video.
That's
the best.
Pretty sure that's a trolling comment.
Ellsworth, Patrick Walter writes, Ellsworth getting a strange BDSM storyline with Carmella for F word's sake.
I quite like that story. I thought it was quite funny.
It was a bit weird. It
was only weird because they never gave any context for it. Like, they just did it. And then a couple of weeks later, stopped doing it. And so it's bad in the sense that it's a terrible storyline. But for the visual of it, it was quite funny.
I was never that into it. Alex Furine says, the fans. He's another one.
Another one of them.
He doesn't like us.
No, exactly.
We're fans. Isn't he a fan?
He's a fan.
What a self-loathing man. Sean Conlon, Jason Jordan, in general, incorrect.
Disagree.
He's awesome.
He's great.
Bradley Thomas Kincaid Moore, the reasoning for Matt becoming broken. He lost a few matches. They could have given him a head injury.
See, now, I'm going to disagree with Bradley slightly here.
Oh, really?
Well, only because he says the reason they've given it is he lost a few matches, but I don't think that's the story.
Right. He lost one match.
He lost a match and then was broken.
Yeah. It's like you've had so much time to prepare. Why not make this a more drawn out story where he does go broken?
Yeah, but you've got that WWE retconning of just like, oh yeah, but he was losing all those times. That was all part of the story. Just how, you remember, Daniel Bryan was, he was always going to be the headliner of WrestleMania 30.
Always.
That's why we were burying him at SummerSlam the year previous, because we were building to that WrestleMania 30 moment.
They know. They know how to play
They
you.
knew all along.
We're just marks, aren't we? Just marks to be played.
Yeah, Road Dogg said it. It must be true.
Sean Conlon, the UK Championship.
In what sense, though?
Could be a trolling comment. I guess it hasn't been defended. It's not become after the momentum of the tournament, the 2-night tournament in January, which I loved. You just had the occasional very good match
on
every
NXT.
couple of months. It could have been a new title on SmackDown or on NXT.
Yeah.
So I could see what he means.
Yeah, unless he just meant the UK Championship in general, which
And he's trolling.
Yeah, I disagree with.
Thomas A. Dixon, sort of a mashup. Wicka. But 205 Live destroying great talent. Neville, Aries, all the rest that are still there, even though they have much higher potential.
It's just a bunch of lads. 205 Live is just a bunch of lads. That's why I was baffled that they announced live touring dates for it. You could never have thought those were going to sell tickets. And now they've put Bray and Matt onto the tour. So it's no longer really a 205 Live thing. Ben
Howson sticks with that theme. 205 Live, enough said. Ed Terry, something I forgot about. Shawn Michaels dressed as Colonel Sanders at SummerSlam.
I think I missed this because I was late, wasn't I?
He came out and he was dressed as,
Yeah.
Dem Brass, all of it, except for the Wyatt Hardy promo. John Surley, whenever Enzo picks up a mic, unfair, he's really good.
Yep.
We're rattling through these. Keith Rude, Enzo as Cruiserweight Champion. Dana War Healy, Shibata basically killing himself.
Yes, one for you, my friend.
So Shibata was one of the most engaging wrestlers in New Japan, fantastic wrestler, and for a very misjudged spot in the match, where it was a very long match anyway, he was dehydrated, he headbutted Okada, like a stiff headbutt, and that created bleeding on the brain or something to that effect. A traumatic brain injury, which put him in a very bad state for a while. Thankfully, he's come back and he can move around and stuff and speak. But he would likely never wrestle again. So
very sad.
Very sad. Like that's in the legitimate.
Yeah.
That's in there with the sexy star thing, and everything else is just really nonsense.
That is not AJ Styles winning the WWE Championship.
Yeah. Samantha Eastwood bringing Paige back. I thought she was very good. John Pablo
Although I'm already
Thompson,
tired of her.
Randy Orton, and everything he's touched this year. Dave Williams, Aries being so underutilized that he had to leave the company. Austin Aries left this year.
I know, Austin and Neville. Like, both of them, it just shows...
Pending.
Pending. Just shows what has happened to the Cruiserweight division.
Scott Brady, The Fashion Files. Absolutely pathetic.
Strong disagree.
Just shows that beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Comedy is subjective.
Philip Henderson says Jeff Jarrett at Triple Mania drunk.
Well, yeah, okay, he was drunk, but everyone was saying, like, oh, he was throwing tortillas into the crowd. He always does that. He's been doing that for decades. So
that was allegedly the incident that made Anthem let Jarrett go. Stuff bad. Jinder's title run. Matthias Smith, Kevin Owens, everything with Kevin Owens. Unfair. Philip Glover, Alberto El Patron, ruining the Impact title feud between Johnny Impact and Eli Drake because nobody in the company contacted him while he was suspended. So, yeah. I don't watch enough TNA to well, it was just... Patron was suspended. There was all that nonsense between Paige and Patron during that sort of like police incident thing. Yeah. So it's got so much you forget, isn't there? In a year. Yeah. Azkir Khan, Strowman eating one F5 and getting pinned. It's the first time that's come up. Yeah, but it's it's a year-long storyline. I suddenly realised actually while re-watching the WrestleMania match between Goldberg was pinned after one F5 as well. Oh, there you go. So that was when they started it, and I've just been continuing it ever since then. George Hill, New Day hosting WrestleMania. That was annoying, wasn't it? What did they do apart from introduce the Hardys? Introduce the Hardys, yeah. Yeah, it was annoying. We've got nothing for them, and they're host now. Well, it was also that was around the time of the sex tape. Oh, yeah. So it was Xavier was hidden a lot from press bits because that was their main role to do all the press, and then they couldn't do the press. Lee Gellett, anything that happens after Stephanie McMahon's music hits. Fair enough. TJ Kennedy, Bullet Club, everything they did. Oh, strong disagree. Chris Shaver, Shield reunion, and pretty much every Ambrose win and Ambrose segment. This is a pun on Dean Ambrose's name. Which Luke likes. That's just made me chuckle because it reminds me of that earlier comment we had, where it's like the marks ruin everything. Wrestling fans are the worst, and it's like when wrestling fans call Roman Reigns Poochie, and Ambrose. That's funny. Ambrose is a good pun though. So Ian Richard Sell probably sums up the Sexy Star incident perfectly. Gotta go with Sexy Star. Everything else mentioned is just scripted crap. She, on the other hand, genuinely tried to injure someone on purpose in the ring. Any grumpiness over storylines and booking kinda pales in comparison. Yeah. Here. There. One of your favourites, Louis Bernzinski. I wouldn't say it was the worst, but Ambrose and Miz were in a rivalry for almost all of 2017. I think it went on for 7 months. Their feud overall. This. I think it started in like November 2016 and lasted all the way through. Oh man, what terrible time. And I can't remember a single thing. No, I think there was that. Didn't he hide in a clock or something? There was a clock involved. Oh yeah, the grandfather. Yeah, clock. There was something. Maurice got him. Yeah, there was something like that. That was bad. Ambrose. Didn't he give awards or something? Oh, I don't remember anything. He was the general manager for the night. Oh, when we went there, yeah, GM Ambrose. And and I can't tell you a single thing that happened in any of their matches. James Paul Matthews finally writes the commentary. Oof. About as bland and mundane as listening to Atmosphere by Russ Abbott. I don't know that song. Neither do I, but I can agree. Bland, though. Can agree with you that the commentary has been. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but it feels like it's getting worse, man. No, because we've been watching. Because since you've started the studio, I've been watching a lot more classic stuff from the Attitude Era. Jim Ross, Jerry the King, Tony Schiavone, Bobby Heenan, Mike Tenay, all the '90s stuff, and the commentary is so much better. If you watch New Japan, Ring of Honor, the commentary is so much better. It tells the story. It focuses on the action. It doesn't get distracted. It's not annoying bickering back and forth. But that's what WWE do and tell all their announced teams to perform in, apart from NXT, which is, that's very good.
It's much better. Well, I mean, Percy Watson adds virtually nothing, but the show overall, the commentary overall is very good. I think that, I was going to call him Doug Williams then, Nigel McGuinness is excellent.
So, I mean, I've got a personal one to close on.
Yeah, okay, lovely.
Off the back of this.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this wasn't mentioned in any of the over 250 responses we had. And that is Mauro Ranallo effectively being bullied out of the company.
Absolutely. We've all forgotten about that, haven't we? Only because he's back now.
He re-signed, presumably under the proviso that you won't really talk about what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, JBL left after this. It seemed that JBL was ribbing Mauro too hard. That's at least what the Wrestling Observer reported. And Mauro quit. A man with a history of very public history of having bipolar and depression. And yeah, it was a his dream job. He had to leave his dream job because people were effectively mean to him in the company that you worked for. What a horrible feeling, and something that I think definitely goes in the sexy star real category.
Shibata.
Yeah, Shibata, rather than the guff of all of us.
Yeah.
Just saying that was
100% agree. I think we should end on that.
Yes. For this festive time of year. But we will be back with fun stuff.
The best stuff.
Yes, on Friday, so stick around
Talk
for that.
about some positiveness.
And I hope you all enjoy still eating food. Hopefully you've taken the 4 days off between Christmas Day and New Year, and you can all just have a nice jolly like we are. And click the videos that have just appeared beneath us here to catch up with the latest whatever. There's some new Christmas fun things coming up. And so buy these t-shirts by going to our store, subscribe to this podcast, subscribe to the channel, pledge on Patreon, order issue 2 of the magazine. This has been Luke Owen, I've been Ollie Davis, and that was Rambling.